9 Plus. Download now.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Game On. I'm Meha Bharadwaj-Alter. Today on the show, we discuss Captain Rohit Sharma's Asia Cup and World Cup plans. At an event in Mumbai, Rohit spoke on various issues, from the number 4 problem that India faces to some inexplicable decisions in the West Indies ODIs in the name of experimentation. So if you've all been wondering, why did Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli not play the second and the third ODI? We'll tell you on the show. Jamie Alter is here with us, as is Chetan Nirula, who will help us decipher what the Indian think tank is planning for the Asia Cup and for the World Cup. Welcome, gentlemen. Jamie, let me begin with you then. The one thing about Rohit Sharma that we've got to admire is the ease with which he answers media questions. For somebody whose every move, every action is being judged by millions of fans, he's quite nonchalant in the way he's answering some of these questions. And we're going to take our viewers through it, but that's an admirable quality. He doesn't take himself too seriously, does he?
Yeah, look, it's all well and done when things are going well. You know, that's the kind of Rohit that has won countless fans. It's served him pretty well when he's captaining Mumbai Indians in the IPL. But somewhere that lackadaisical approach does sort of show in his captaincy, and I think a bit of the bubble also burst around this exact same Rohit that you're talking about. The more that India's frustrations piled up increasingly in the tournaments last year, we saw that it's all not laid back, or it's, to use a cliche, it's all not hunky dory. But it's good from an individual perspective that he doesn't take things too seriously when he fronts up to the media. Yes, there have been times when he's snapped. We've all seen them. But unlike certain other individuals who sometimes take it a bit too seriously, I'm talking about purely these press conferences, you know, because I remember there were times when MS Dhoni could be cheeky, but there are also times when he could be very verbose, and he'd go on and on. And it's almost like he wanted to sort of dull a lot of us into some kind of sensation because he didn't want to answer the questions. Then I remember there are times when Virat Kohli gave some snappy one-liners. Overall, when it comes purely just to press conferences, it's always been enjoyable to be at Rohit Sharma's press conferences. The only other sort of non-Indian comparison I can make, I think Chetan will probably agree, was Aaron Finch. I remember during the 2019 World Cup, every single one of Aaron Finch's press conferences were actually really, really fun. Like, I think he brought Brad Haddon's kids to one at the Oval, and someone asked him about does he think that his one-day form would bring him back into the testing? He said, absolutely not. I hope the selectors have moved on from me in tests. So it is nice, again, purely from a press conference perspective, from a journalist perspective, to see captains come up and have a bit of fun. Because, I mean, Lord knows there's too many dull or too many, I want to use the word khadoos or maybe sadu captains that come to press conferences. So from that regard, it's definitely fun to watch Rohit Sharma. But sometimes he says things and then does the polar opposite. So it's a bit of a 50-50 call for me.
No, we'll even realize that through this show, as I put some of his quotes, that it's difficult to decipher what he's trying to do. But then, Chetan, the good thing is that at least he spoke up on these issues, right? I mean, number 4, India's problem with number 4, what India should do with KL Rahul and Surya if they're fit. These are things that, anyone else at an event which is not related to cricket, the captain would have said, you know what, this is not the right place or the time. So at least the fact that he's addressed some of those issues, that's also commendable.
Well, yeah. Hi, Meha. Look, in that sense, yes. I mean, he's a lot more open, as Jamie put out. Rohit Sharma's press conferences can be quite fun, can be quite candid. He can be quite forthcoming. If I have to compare in terms of cricketing knowledge, then yes, Virat Kohli can be pretty forthcoming as well. But the thing with Virat is that he knows when to shut down the questions. If it's not a cricket event, then he will not answer cricket questions. If he's laid down that particular law, then he's not going to budge on it. So in that particular sense, Rohit can be a bit of a freewheeler in that sense. Yes. Having said that, as you mentioned, that throughout the throughout the show, probably we are going to realize that what he's saying is probably not what matching up with what the team is doing. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt. Whatever he's saying in functions and press conferences, etc., etc. 2 months to go, less than 2 months to go.
Yeah.
I want to see it on the field, and it's time for the talking to stop.
Okay, so now before we get to Rohit Sharma's answers for some of the big questions, let's put those questions up, because Asia Cup 2023 will begin on the 30th of August and squads are already starting to be revealed for the tournament. Pakistan, they've announced their squad, and India are likely to announce their team next week, which means Ajit Agarkar and the team management have some tough questions in front of them. The first question is, what is the fitness status of KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer? These two players are India's first choice players for Asia Cup and possibly World Cup. We still don't know whether they are fit and how fit, what is the extent. If KL Rahul doesn't recover from his thigh injury, who will take his place as the wicketkeeper batter? That's the one question. If it's Ishan Kishan, will he bat in the middle order, and is that a good decision? Then there is the big number 4 dilemma. Shreyas Iyer was the best option, having an average of 47 plus at number 4 with 2 centuries and 5 half centuries. But once again, he is still not fit. Even if he is fit, will he be match fit? That's the other big question. What about Surya Kumar Yadav and Sanju Samson in the middle order as backup options in case KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer are in fact fit, or one of them is fit? Who should get a look in ahead of the other? Surya has averaged 24.33 in ODIs, and Sanju has once again left many wondering if he's the right choice in the way he has wasted his opportunities in the West Indies so far. He scored 9 and 51 in the ODIs and 12 and 7 in the T20Is. There's a third contender in the middle order who's just come out of nowhere, who's made many people very excited about his potential in ODIs, and that is Tilak Varma. He's being seen as a left field choice by many. Think that he's perfect for that role in ODIs, given his average of 50 plus in list A cricket as well. The other question then is the fourth seamer option after Mohammad Siraj, Jasprit Bumrah if he is fit, and Mohammad Shami. And in all probability, Bumrah is fit because he is going to be captaining India in the Ireland series. So who will be the fourth seamer? That's the other question. Will it be Prasidh Krishna who will be playing against Ireland, or will it be Jaydev Unadkat? India has been sticking with him. Or will it be Mukesh Kumar? That's the other big question. Then in the spinners, we know Kuldeep Yadav is the first choice with Ravindra Jadeja as their batting all-rounder. But will they go in with an Akshar Patel, Yuzvendra Chahal, or will they go in with a fast bowling all-rounder in Shardul Thakur to make up that 15? Because remember what happens in the Asia Cup. The squad that India has for the Asia Cup will serve as a blueprint for the World Cup, and that is the core team really. Players from that core team will be picked for the World Cup as well. So there are a lot of questions for Rohit Sharma, for Rahul Dravid, and for Ajit Agarkar. I happened to ask Ajit Agarkar a couple of days ago, saying what's happening with the team. He says, I'm trying to figure it out, Miha. We're trying to figure it out, Jamie and Chetan. And it's not easy because India's first choice players are missing. Even if they are back, what's the status of their fitness? That is going to be important, Jamie. How do you see this playing out? And how important is it for India to get their Asia Cup selection right with an eye to the World Cup? Because if they are here, there's going to be a domino effect.
Correct. So, like we discussed before, India's Asia Cup squad is India's World Cup squad, and vice versa. I mean, there's just no time left for any more experimenting, right? Of course, when Tilak Varma slots in at the age of 20 and in his first 3 international innings in T20 cricket, he plays 3 attractive innings. Their stock is bound to start about, let's fast track him in. India need a left-hander in the middle order. They do need a number 4. But again, with full respect and due credit to him, I just don't know if it's the time to bring in someone who's not played one-day cricket yet. That's not to suggest that he would not, that is Tilak Varma, would not be a natural fit. but it's too close to be trying someone out, right? Now we all know, and everyone in the BCCI, the NCA, they knew that Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul were going to be out for some time, right? Why they could not start to identify better options for number 4 and number 5 is actually beyond me. You can hope in the process, you can hope in good luck, you can trust in every single facet in your control that KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer do make it back, because we know the stats say that there's no better number 4 over the last 4 years in ODIs than Shreyas Iyer, and there's no more better number 5 in ODIs than KL Rahul. But that said, you have to also keep that margin or that window open if they don't come back. And here we are again. I feel like it's been 5 months to go to the World Cup, 4 months to go, 3 months, and now we're down to 2 months, and we're still talking about why haven't they been grooming someone, right? So it's just baffling. I mean, you can hold Ajit Agarkar accountable to some extent, but he's just been in the role for a few weeks. So what was going on before? Yes, there was no apparent selection committee of note, but there were still people who played a lot of international cricket. There was still a captain, there was still a coach, there was still a whole management, you know. So it's almost like they just assume कि यार Rahul or Iyer तो आ जाएंगे वापस, you know. And I just think that is what has been most disappointing in this whole search. And I mean, it just, you talk about 2015 World Cup, you talk about 2019 World Cup, you can even go back to the 1999 World Cup when the number 4 was a problem there, because India were opening with Ramesh and Ganguly, and once again you had Sachin going back to number 4. Are we still looking at 2 decades of this revolving door for number 4? It's just baffling, and I think yes, Iyer and Rahul were not around, but the management has to be blamed for not finding at least 2 capable options.
So I mean, I'm not going to fault them there, Chetan, because since 2019, India have tried 11 different players at number 4. And it's a different thing. It's also unfortunate that Shreyas Iyer, that Shreyas Iyer was injured right now. I mean, the timing of it is just couldn't have been worse. He was your, by far the best choice at that number 4. But having said that, now you're in a situation where you can't seem to figure it out. And why this this number 4, the musical chairs that they've been playing with this number 4 is a problem for me, is what I'm going to put up on the screens now, which is Rohit Sharma talking about experimentation in the West Indies. Let's put that quote up, and I'm going to ask you about, I'm going to tell you why I think it's a problem, and you tell me whether I'm right. So let's put this up. Rohit Sharma was asked this question about experiments in the ODIs in the West Indies, and this is what he said. Basically, the idea was to give everyone some games and to see what we have or don't have. If I and he, which he was referring to Virat Kohli, would have played, how would have Surya Kumar Yadav, Sanju Samson played? I was asked by the media there that Akshar is not a number 4. This is international cricket. I started at number 7. I never thought in my life I would become an opener. It's not written anywhere that a number 4 batsman must bat at number 4 only. If you are in the team, you should bring versatility to the side, that you can play and perform anywhere. We will try and figure out what's the best position for him. That he's talking about Surya Kumar Yadav, but we can only figure that once we have seen them play at all positions. If you want a fixed slot, then play for your club. If you want to play for India, you should be able to bat anywhere. I can give my example. I've batted from number 1 to number 7. It's the same for everyone. Tell the guys to bowl at you with the new ball, and if you are a finisher and you're batting at number 6, 7, tell the boys to take a slightly older ball, get it to reverse. All this is said. It's not like someone is sent to bat at a different number out of nowhere. We aren't that mad. Now, this is what he said, and my problem with this is, Chetan, I understand versatility. I understand the fact that modern day cricket demands that you are ready for any position, because especially in the shorter format, you could be a floater. But still, when you're trying to figure out a squad for the Asia Cup and then the World Cup, you would at least try to play those players at somewhere the position they are meant to play. Akshar Patel at 4. Will you play Akshar Patel at 4 in any given situation? If yes, I'm all for it. Play him at, experiment him at number 4. But I don't think they're ever going to play him at 4.
Well, Neha, I really don't know what to make of what Rohit Sharma said, to be very, very honest. I mean, on the one hand, he says you want to give games to Sanju Samson, Surya Yadav, Ishan Kishan, etc., etc. I mean, the first ODI, they won the toss and they opted to bowl first. I mean, were they expecting West Indies to put up 300 on the board on a turning wicket? I mean, what was that? You won the toss, you want to see, you want to experiment, bat first, bat for 50 overs and give 50 overs to Sanju Samson, Surya Yadav, Ishan Kishan, and let them show you what they want to do. I mean, did the experimentation start after West Indies was bowled out? I mean, it just does not make sense, because if you're experimenting, if you want to give them a chance to bat, you would want to give them 50 overs instead of 20 overs. Then come to the second ODI with Akshar Patel batting at number 4. I mean, it's ridiculous to say that anybody should be ready to bat at any number. I mean, are you going to bat Jasprit Bumrah at number 3 then? Are you going to open with Jasprit Bumrah in the World Cup? I mean, it's ridiculous. There's a certain role that Akshar Patel plays. Yes, he can bat, but are you seeing him as a full-time batsman? It defies logic. It's all very good to say that everybody should be able to bat anybody, but that applies to proper batsmen. Akshar Patel, as good a batsman he is not a proper batsman. He's a spinner who can bat. So there has to be a bit of distinction. You can't see a Virat Kohli and Jasprit Bumrah in the same length. Next time if Virat Kohli gets injured, Jasprit Bumrah is going to bat at number 3. It's like I said, what he says is just a defense of what they try to do. They can say we are not that mad, but it seemed like a mad experimentation. Let's be very honest. Akshar Patel is not going to bat at number 4 anytime during the World Cup, and if he does, you can kiss the World Cup goodbye. Let me say that today, August 11 on this show. If Akshar Patel bats at number 4 in the World Cup, India is not winning the World Cup, because he is not a proper batsman.
Yeah.
This distinction has to be there. Just because you're experimenting, you can't experiment with anything and everything. I mean, if I'm cooking butter chicken, I can't put 7 kgs of sugar in it, can I? You can only put 1 spoon of sugar in it. So it is, you have the ingredients, you have to, distinguish between the ingredients and then come up with a recipe which is palatable. So what he's saying right now makes absolutely no sense. He's just defending. There is no cross questioning. So to my mind, this puzzle has gone on for too long. You have a few names. Jamie said that, yes, the selectors are to be blamed because there were 2 names. They should have picked 2 names for number 4. They did, kind of. My heart goes out to them. They had Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul at number 4. Both got injured.
Yeah.
But then the depth of Indian cricket is that there is 3 months to go before the West Indies series, when they were both injured. There is 6 months to go before the World Cup, when both are injured. So you plan the experimentation in a proper manner. Not send Akshar Patel out at number 4 and then defend it by saying you should be able to bat at any position. I mean, it's a false equivalence. Rohit Sharma at number 7, does it equate in any manner with Akshar Patel at number 4? So to me, it defies logic. I've had enough of this. I just want a proper lineup to come out in the Asia Cup and do something about it.
Yeah, so that's my other question, Jamie, that there is experimentation and then there is absolutely no method to that experimentation. Do you see that being the case here? Because some of those decisions are quite shocking. Either you should have decided that Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma are not going to be part of the ODIs, and then don't let them play the ODIs. Just experiment with everybody else. They are there, they're sitting there. You've created a team around them, and then you're saying, oh, but we need to experiment, we need to try other players as well. And then, of course, options like get Akshar Patel at 4, you've tried Surya at 4, you're trying Sanju Samson at 4, then you shift Surya to 6 because you're trying to figure things out, you're trying to see if he can be your finisher, but then Hardik Pandya is already your finisher. Sometimes you've even tried Akshar Patel as your finisher. So I feel like they're going back and forth, and that causes confusion overall in the squad, where people don't know. I mean, versatility is one thing, but you need to have some kind of roles defined for you, right?
Absolutely. And 6 months before the World Cup, if 2 key players are injured or not injured, that's immaterial. You cannot be experimenting in the last 5 to 6 months heading into a one-day World Cup. Due to the schedule of those 6 months, 2 months went in the IPL, and another month or 5 weeks went in playing Test cricket. But that's just part and parcel of today's international crammed calendar, right? Yes, you can say, why are they playing more T20Is than ODIs? But that's just part of how the bilateral fixtures go. We said before the first ODI, Meya, three of us were here on the show, and we said these are the three ODIs which are the last ones before you have to name your squad for the Asia Cup and then your probable World Cup squad. If India's plans included that, again, I just go back to that jumbled lineup we saw in the first ODI when the target was just 115. If that was part of your plans, then to echo Chetan, then forget the World Cup. If part of your plans were then to experiment by dropping Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, and then Rahul Dravid saying they're not going to give us answers, then we're all doomed. Then we're all just monkeys yapping, sitting on a branch of a tree, looking down at what's happening, right? What kind of planning is this? We don't even need to look that far back to how the planning was for 15, how good it was for 11. These are players who've been around for a long time. If you had doubts about certain players, where are your backup plans? And maybe it was a slip of the tongue. Maybe Rahul Dravid didn't mean to emphasize so much on experimenting. Maybe he's looking for another word, but that just seemed like the most polite, the most logical thing in front of all of two journalists there in West Indies. I don't know. But the answers you're giving, that's one thing. What's taking place, on the field, it's just baffling, And again, I just hope that they don't make the mistake of now bringing in this left-hander in Tilak Varma, because again, he might score 500 runs, but it doesn't make sense. You cannot bring someone who's not been playing ODIs.
Yeah.
Just very, 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 very confusing sign. With each passing day, with each passing result, with each passing press conference, I was so confident 1 month ago that this team could walk into the semifinals of the World Cup with one eye shut. I'm losing faith with each passing show we're doing here, to be honest.
Okay, so number 4 dilemma for Team India that we've been talking about. This is what Rohit Sharma had to say about the topic. Let's put that up, and then we'll also go to the next one about Tilak Varma. So first, number 4 dilemma for Team India. This is what Rohit Sharma had to say. He said after Yuvraj Singh, nobody has come and settled themselves in at number 4. How much we miss Yuvraj Singh. The position was a hot topic for debate ahead of the last 50 overs World Cup in England as well. Look, number 4 has been an issue for us for a long time, for a long period of time. Shreyas has actually batted at number 4 and he's done well. His numbers are really good. Unfortunately, injuries have given him a bit of trouble, and which is what we've been saying as well, right? There couldn't have been worse timing for Shreyas Iyer to get injured, for KL Rahul to get injured. And he also goes on to add that the amount of injuries in the last 4 to 5 years is massive. When players get injured and are not available, you're trying different things with different players. This is what I have to say about number 4. And yes, we miss Yuvraj Singh. And I mean, I just keep going back to how Chetan in that 2011 World Cup, and why that was such a dream campaign for India, was how everybody put their hand up as and when they were given opportunity. I was thinking of that semi-final against Australia, where Yuvraj Singh and Suresh Raina batted to rescue India out, right? And Suresh Raina was, I think, playing his first game of the tournament. Yep. And to see him do that, Ashwin was given the new ball. And I think he was all... What I'm trying to say is that that team sort of believed in a common goal of winning the World Cup. Of course, later on they went on to say that they won it for, or they wanted to win it for Sachin Tendulkar and all of that. But there was that sense of wanting to win. And all teams we've seen in the past as well, teams that go on to win World Cups, Champions Trophy, these teams have this winning spirit. They also have some kind of bonding that I feel like you need to start doing that right now. You cannot change the core squad. You need to give roles to people. You need to tell them that, look, together we need to go and win out there. And I feel like they haven't been able to come to that core squad, which is going to be a huge problem for them.
Absolutely, Meha. That problem of core squad and giving roles is something that is lacking in the current context of the Indian team or its preparation for the World Cup. I mean, Yuvraj Singh's performance in that World Cup is not just limited to that particular World Cup. It goes far back.
Yeah.
He played so many games as number 4 and number 5, even before 2007 World Cup. But leading up to that 2011 World Cup in 2009 and in 2010, and those 2 months before the World Cup, he was your designated number 4. You had MS Dhoni at 5 or 6, you had Suresh Raina, then you had Yusuf Pathan in there somewhere as well. And, the roles were particularly defined. Yusuf Pathan was used as your spin bowling all-rounder. I remember you named Ravichandran Ashwin. He played the last league game in Chennai against West Indies. That's when he came into the side. Until then, it was Yusuf Pathan who was helping Harbhajan Singh with the off-spin duties. And suddenly they changed the complexion of the game, getting into the quarters and the semis. And Suresh Raina perhaps played the best cameo of 3 matches in the history of ODI World Cup.
Yeah.
Because he was absolutely brilliant in those 2 games with the bat, and then in the fielding in the final. It was absolutely brilliant to watch him. So it was all a part of a plan, a well thought out plan by MS Dhoni and Gary Kirsten and the selectors, Krishnamachari, Srikanth, everybody. They were all in. They all had a particular blueprint, and they did not have it 2 months before the World Cup. They had it 2 years before the World Cup. Look, now international cricket has completely changed. We have never-ending bilaterals. IPL is 2 months. T20 cricket, Test cricket, which is ending in 2.5 days, 3 days. So the international calendar is taking its toll. So I understand if you do not have 2 years to prepare for an ODI World Cup. And especially, we have a World Cup every year. Last year, 6 months ago, we were playing the T20 World Cup. Now we are playing the ODI World Cup. So it's never ending. But somewhere in between, there is a period of lull where the team management, the support staff, the selectors, they can all get together and they can strategize, they can plan, and then they can execute. Right now, what we are seeing is a lack of plan, and less said about the execution, the better, given how the West Indies experimentation went. So it's all haywire and everything. So I'm hoping, as you said, some sort of spirit, some sort of. I'm sure there's a good spirit in the dressing room, but I'm hoping some sort of positivity.
Oh, that kind of spirit. I thought like some divine intervention.
Planning, something comes into the dressing room. But look, Tilak Varma, and I want to mention that if you want to bring a 20-year-old who's played 25 List A matches, his record is good. Yeah. His record is good in List A cricket, but. If at this stage you're going to bring him in, it's a very, very left field idea. I'm not completely against it, but it does make sense and it does not make sense at the same time. So I really don't know what's going to happen.
And this is what he had to say about Tilak Varma. Jamie, I'll come to you as soon as I put this up. Rohit Sharma was asked about Tilak Varma and what he thought of Tilak Varma's performance in the West Indies, and this is what he said. He said that Tilak Varma looks very promising. I've seen him for 2 years now. He's got the hunger, and that is the most important thing. For the age that he is of, which is 20 years old, he's quite mature. He knows his batting so well. When I speak with him, I understand that the boy knows his batting, where he has to hit, what he has to do in that period. I do not know about the World Cup and all, but definitely the guy is talented, and he showed it in these few games he has played for India. Okay, so Rohit Sharma praising Tilak Varma, and everybody has been. I mean, anyone who's seen him, Jamie, has been praising him. They've been talking about how he's got a matured head on his shoulders, how he knows what to do in different situations. We saw how he came in very aggressively in the third T20I, and then as soon as he saw Surya Yadav was in imperious form, he just sort of sat back and said, you know what, I'm going to let you go out there and play. So he's got all that one needs as a number 4 batter, but he's not experienced enough to be on that World Cup stage. Can taking him for the Asia Cup and maybe the Australia series, will that be enough to put him out there? Are you punting with that as well? What if he fails in Asia Cup? What happens then?
See, just like Chetan said, yes and no, right? Because you're in such a shambolic situation right now because of two massive injuries, as well as some poor planning or some poor contingency planning and some random experimenting. You're now in a situation where the allure of what this left-handed 21-year-old is offering you on the basis of 3 T20Is, right? is so strong that yes, they might be swayed. So far, nobody from, I mean, I know Rohit Sharma has spoken about it, and Wasim Jaffer has spoken about it, and there's been a few tweets here and there. But it's not a strong movement yet. But it could over the next week or 10 days become a much stronger movement because there are still two T20Is. So the more that Tilak Varma keeps impressing, this need for him, or at least the impression of the need for him, is going to grow. And we've seen how selectors, captain, management, they are swayed by some degree of what is being said in the general outer world. Okay. Now, Tilak Varma brings, like Chetan said, a good list A record, good first class record, two very good IPL seasons batting at 4-5. So there's nothing to suggest that he does not have what it takes to succeed. But again, he's 20. If he doesn't work in the Asia Cup, if he doesn't work in the World, are you going to leave him out to dry? It's just there's just too many ifs and buts and combinations, concerns around not just Tilak Varma and what he brings, but 4, 5, 6, right? Sometimes Pandya. I wouldn't be surprised if Hardik Pandya bats 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 in this World Cup, because nothing to suggest. I mean, there's nothing that suggests India are stable. And just one final thing, just to pick up from what Chetan was saying about the comparison between 9, 10, 11, as well as to how this show started. A quote from Rohit Sharma. His most jarring statement for me came in that Bangladesh one-day series when he said, "Abhi hum World Cup ke bare mein nahi sochne."
Oh my God.
It was just 10 months away. And literally, Mayor, you were there, like my jaw fell to the floor. I was actually moved by that statement. And then you go on to lose to Bangladesh, right? So that chilled out, lackadaisical Rohit Sharma that does not walk the talk, that just jars. And, and it's no coincidence that 8 months later, here we are. Yeah, we don't know who's going to bat at 4. We might see Rohit Sharma at 4. We might see Gill at 4. It's just not something you want in the last final 2 months heading into a World Cup.
Chetan, you wanted to add to it?
Yeah, and that's a sign of times. I mean, like I said, 8 months ago, he had just, before that Bangladesh series, he had just come off that T20 World Cup, and the planning should have begun for the ODI World Cup immediately, but it did not. So it just shows the mindset. Now that we are here 2 months before the World Cup and we are talking about Tilak Varma on the back of 3 T20s. Look, for me, why it makes sense? Because yes, it's a left field idea, and given that Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul are not available, and how Surya and Sanju are performing, and Ishan Kishan, this and that, everything considered, I would go in with a left field idea. But why no is because the inexperience. He's 20 years old. And because if you're going to go with it, he's going to have to play the Asia Cup. He's going to have to play the Australia ODIs and then go and play the World Cup. What if he fails?
Absolutely.
What if your strategy or your punt fails? Because then you are wasting chances that you could have given to others like Sanju and Surya, and then there is no return. That's a point of no return. So it's a very, very risky proposition, and I would be gobsmacked if, similarly, a jaw-dropping thing, like Jamie said, in Bangladesh, they were not thinking about it. It would be absolutely jaw-dropping if they go the Tilak Varma direction.
Okay, then let's find out what he has to say about Surya Kumar Yadav, because this was another question that was put for Rohit Sharma, and he was asked about Surya Kumar Yadav's struggle in the ODIs, which Surya Kumar Yadav himself has spoken about, saying that I've seen no shame in it. I've been struggling and I know about it. But this is what Rohit Sharma had to say. He said Surya Kumar Yadav found it tough to find that right tempo in ODIs. In T20s, he's set. He walks out and plays in a certain way, but in 50 overs, the challenges are different. He's really working hard, talking to a lot of guys who played a lot of ODI cricket as to what attitude and mindset to have. It is important to give a batter like him the cushion of extra games so that he finds that groove and gets that confidence. For a player like him, it is our job to create such a scenario. It's okay if you don't do well in 2-3 games, we're okay. But when you come off, you know that you will win games straight away. And I think that's one reason, Jamie, why this team management is just completely hell-bent on trying to get Surya Kumar Yadav to score runs in ODIs, because we all know what he can do when he gets going. We just saw, we got, another reminder in the way he batted in the third T20I. But what stood out for me is this interview. I don't know if you guys watched it, but this was an interview between Tilak Varma and Surya Kumar Yadav, where Tilak Varma asks him कि आपने अपने wrist में रिस्ट बैंड में आपने अंदर एक लिखा था कि मैं आज 50 बॉल खेलूंगा and I'm not going to hit big shots. He said, but the moment you entered, you started hitting big shots. So Surya Kumar Yadav said कि मैं अपने आप को बुद्धू बना रहा था. I was trying to fool myself. But what stood out for me from that was that the team management has a plan for him where they are trying to get him to spend some time in the middle. It's a different thing that he gets into this T20I mode and then starts going for his big shots. Sometimes you just know as a player, I guess, that whatever you're going to hit is going to go out of the boundary. But that's been the problem, right? The difference in how he needs to spend some time in the middle. He needs to be approaching his ODI innings very differently from T20Is, which has been a struggle for him.
So here's my take on that, and I understand that these comments came after India finally won a match to keep the series alive. Outstanding innings by Surya Kumar Yadav. But what is the meaning? And I'd love to hear Chetan's view on the same thing too. What is the meaning of saying कि टीम ने मुझसे कहा कि 50 गेंदें खेले? ये comment आ रहा है आप T20 के बाद. Forget this. This is a one-day World Cup here. If the team has told you in a one-day match to face 50 balls, to me, that means that you're batting at number 6 in the last 15 overs, right? You're not going to tell a number 3 to face 50 balls. You're not going to tell a
No, I don't think it was for this.
Balls.
I don't think it was for T20. I just
Correct,
said to basically spend some time in the
But
middle in
I'm
ODIs. Yeah.
Bilkul. So again, I'm coming to a topic we've often discussed, the three of us, and it's indicative of the bigger problem that both Chetan and I have been talking about. They've struggled across 26 matches. Yahan pe Rohit Sharma can rock up and say, it's okay if you fail in 2 or 3. No, from 25, he's failed in 23. So it's not 2-3. Remove the dash. It's actually 23 matches that Surya Kumar Yadav has failed, right? So I don't know where this comment came from, what it is, but if it's true for once, then like Chetan and I have been saying, his best place is number 6. But even then, if you look at the last 1 year and the last 2 years collectively, batting 4, 5, 6, 7, which is historically called in the middle order, right? Across the last 2 years, Surya Kumar Yadav is averaging 18. Across the last 12 months, like your stat team put up, he's averaging 6. So we're still talking about how this guy still fits in. If an average of 18 across 24 months is good enough for you to play him, then kiss the World Cup goodbye, to echo Chetan. If the last 12 months, an average of 6 across 4, 5, 6, 7 is still good enough for you to play, then again, like I said, we're just playing some game of headless chicken here. You should have budgeted for him to not work out. You should have budgeted for KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer, their backup. 3, your ideal 4, 5, 6, which you envisioned 2 years ago, are not working. 2 तो है ही नहीं squad में. तीसरा बिल्कुल flop है. And we're 2 months from a World Cup.
How long should India stick with Surya Kumar Yadav? Chetan?
Oh, he's playing the World Cup. I've tried to tell JB so many times, bhai maan le. He's just not accepting it. He's going to play the World Cup. I mean, JB is not going to accept it. That's fine. But he's definitely, I mean, as long as Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul are both missing. In fact, even if they are both present, you might want a backup batsman again, given their fragile injuries or fragile return from injury. So he's going to be your primary standby batsman or a backup batsman. So Surya Kumar Yadav is not going anywhere. He's going to play the World Cup. Whether he features in the playing 11 or not, that's a totally different story. But yes, to echo Jamie, his record is not that great. But if my options are Sanju Samson and Surya Kumar Yadav, then I definitely am going with Surya Kumar Yadav. And because number 6, he slots in at number 6. India might still figure out to bat Ishan Kishan at number 4, which is not the best idea, but not the worst idea either. But maybe they'll get Hardik Pandya to bat at number 4, which is probably a great idea, but they're still not looking at it. So let's see how the number 4 plays out. But I definitely feel that Surya Kumar Yadav is going to bat at number 6 if he features in the playing 11 during the World Cup. And let me just add here, they have messed this up in his head, by giving him this role of number 4. He's not number 4. He's not number 3. He's not number 5. He's only pure number 6 in ODI format. Time and again, if you're going to tell him to bat against the role that he's supposed to do, it's going to mess up his gameplay. And it's messed up his T20 gameplay as well, as seen from the first 2 matches. So the team management is to blame here. I hope that they have realized the last 2 ODIs. That's the only positive I said, Meha, on this show. The only positive for me was Surya Kumar batting at number 6 in those last 2 ODIs. I hope that doesn't change. After that, it's for Jamie to accept that he's going to the World Cup.
Oh, and you've got to understand versatility, Chetan. It's versatility. You need to be able to play at any position.
Jasprit Bumrah can bat, Jasprit Bumrah can come and bat up the order.
If Surya Yadav is asked to bat at number 4, he should be able to bat at number 4. Okay.
I can throw back Sanju Samson's number 6 ODI stat.
No.
No.
See, the thing is, Jamie, at the end of the day, I think between the three of us, I really think that a Surya Yadav at 6 is going to win you more matches than a Sanju Samson.
Correct.
Absolutely.
It's just numbers or no numbers from what we've seen. Okay. Now, this is the last one, which is Rohit Sharma talking about KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer, that they're not automatic selection, that they also need to prove themselves, which again is surprising because they really are automatic selection. As soon as they're fit, they are going to be in the squad. But he says that they're not automatic selection. They're saying Shreyas and KL are coming off not having played anything for 4 months, big injuries. I had to undergo surgery once and I know how it feels afterwards. He says we have to see how they respond, what they do. The selection meeting will be there in a few days. We will have a good debate about what we can do. He goes on to say, but honestly, nobody is an automatic choice. They all have to fight for the spot. In the Asia Cup, now this is interesting. I want to see some of the guys batting under pressure against quality teams. It is always nice to have a lot of names rather than just 1 or 2. I hope they are fit in time. Firstly, that is most important. They have been at NCA for 4 months, working really hard. It looks positive, fingers crossed. And the part that sort of stood out for me, Jamie, from that was him saying that I want to be able to see players and how they bat in pressure situations. Now, I don't know whether he's not talking about who these players are, but I'm guessing these are not your senior experienced players. Are you looking at some kind of experimentation in the Asia Cup with some of the younger players? Because it seems like in Asia Cup also they'll experiment. They'll not go with the kind of squad that they would want in the World Cup. He wants to still see how some of the players play under pressure situations against good sides.
You're not going to hear anyone else say this, I don't think, but can we get Greg Chappell back? Because the way that Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma, Greg Chappell at least had a vision for 2007, right? Now, like Chetan pointed out, because of some strange captaincy calls during that World Cup, which lasted all of 4 matches, it didn't work out. But the build-up, 12 months before 2007, Greg Chappell was trying players. He and Rahul Dravid were doing the right things. If it didn't work out, that's different. What are we talking about? Experiments in the Asia Cup. Then to yaar, we should all just be playing Rohit Sharma's favorite format, and that's club cricket, right? Like he said in that first quote. I mean, if you're experimenting in the Asia Cup, man, then to forget the World Cup. No chance.
Chetan?
Like I said, Neha, earlier, what he's saying on stage in these functions, it makes no sense. I mean, he gave such a big eulogy about number 4, this, that, giving chances, this, and now he's talking about experimentation and pressure. Tell me something. You're going to play at least 2 games against Pakistan in the Asia Cup. Usse zyada pressure kya chahiye? You have 3 matches against Australia coming up. Usse zyada pressure kya chahiye? Are you going to say Nepal is going to bat first and you want to watch how many runs Nepal puts up? And then put your batsman under pressure like you did in the West Indies? I fully expect it to happen, by the way. Look, they did not win the Asia Cup last year, and see what happened in the World Cup. The way this is going, I don't expect them to win the Asia Cup as well. For me, Pakistan are the favorites, not India. But it's just, these comments are ridiculous, man. It's just, like I said, it just does not make sense. He's giving one answer for one question and then just turning the answer completely different. I mean, you want to be laid back. This is not laid back. This is going round and round and round and making no sense whatsoever. Like Jamie said, if you're going to experiment in the Asia Cup, I don't have a problem with experimentation. It has to make sense. Make sense with the experimentation. You want to see the guys under pressure. There are ways to put them under pressure.
Yeah.
Not by, I just can't believe.
Yeah, there has to be a method to the madness, Jamie. It can't just be anything and anyone. Yes, Jamie? Last.
No, I said let's end the show on a light-hearted note, because it seems like Rohit Sharma is just chilling. This is not laid back. This is laid down and
Yeah.
finished.
Lazy elegance. This is lazy elegance. In
Lazy
captaincy.
elegance. Huh?
I think the elegance part of it can be removed.
Lazy in captaincy, yes.
No, but listen, maybe all of this amounts to nothing in the way that India ends up going and winning the Asia Cup and the World Cup. Anything is possible.
very
But the
optimistic,
way
Neha.
they've gone about it, there is no method to that madness, at least not till now. Maybe we'll change our minds, but not today. Thank you so much, Chetan Nirula and Jamie Alter, for joining us here. It's time for us to wrap this show up. What do you think of our programming? Do let us know in the comments section below. Do subscribe to News 9 Live for all the latest from the world of sports. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
मैं इमरान अहमद खान नियाजी सबके दिल से हल्फ उठाता हूँ.
When Imran Khan came initially into politics, he thought his personal popularity would be sufficient for him. It didn't happen.
The retired military generals are openly saying that Imran Khan is a better choice.
Imran Khan may have bitten a bit too much, more than what he can chew.
Implosion. This and more. Streaming on world's first news OTT. News 9 Plus. Download now. BrahMos. Stealthy. Lethal. Precise. It flies at 3 times the speed of sound and cuts through a warship like a hot knife through butter. China's navy has threatened its neighbors, and they are turning to the BrahMos for protection. The warship killer. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
Pakistan is actually genociding Baloch people. So being Baloch is a crime. If you are a Baloch, it means in the eyes of Pakistan, you don't have any right to live.
The Chinese and Pakistanis are colonizing the Baloch and exploiting their resources.
The Baloch armed struggle will continue unless China withdraws, Pakistan military withdraws from Balochistan, and give Baloch complete authority to decide for themselves.
The Baloch feel that if they don't act now, they will become marginalized.
What lies ahead for Balochistan?
Balochistan, Bangladesh 2.0, streaming now.
This is Gurugram, a fast-growing satellite city of the national capital. High-rises dot its affluent neighborhoods. It is the darling of real estate giants in northern India. Gurugram is like every other swanky Indian city, embracing development at lightning speed. But such development always comes with a hefty price.
Something like Hanuman, going away with the hill. This is what was happening.
It is going to be disastrous for Northwest India in terms of our water security, in terms of the climate change that is happening, in terms of our groundwater, in terms of pollution.
Aravallis have two major kind of threats. One is real estate, and the other is mining.
The Aravalis. From Wazirabad in Delhi to Palanpur in Gujarat, the Aravalis stretch across 692 kilometers. They are estimated to be more than 1 billion years old. They act as a natural barrier and shield more than 4.6 crore people in Delhi NCR from the elements. But the Aravalis are bleeding.
इस वक्त हम हरियाणा के अरावली पहाड़ी इलाके में खड़े हैं और ये वो क्राइम सीन